I was still in my wedding dress when I saw my fiancé kiss another woman on my sister's Instagram Live. It was supposed to be over. The dinner, the toasts, the bridal shower after-party, as everyone called it, even though the wedding was still 5 weeks away. We did the aesthetic cottagecore thing out in Ajay, a spiritual vibe pre-ceremony with linen napkins and herbal cocktails and hand-tied bundles of lavender. That morning, my sister Ava had gone live to show off the decor. Cute behind the scenes, champagne flutes, candids of us twirling on the deck. It was still on her profile. I had watched it at least 5 times that night after everyone had left. The first 4 were nostalgia. The fifth changed everything. Because on the 5th view, I noticed something in the background. A door slightly ajar. The guest room, the one Ava and I stayed in as kids when we'd visit my aunt. And through the crack in the door, I saw Damon. My fiancé. He wasn't alone. There was a woman, dark hair, shoulder length, tan skater skirt, and she leaned in. And Damon kissed her. It wasn't fast, it wasn't panicked, it was slow, familiar. His hand rested on her waist like it had been there 1,000 times before. Ava's live ended 2 seconds later, panning out to a bowl of olives. But I had seen it. I watched my future collapse in 720p with a heart-eye emoji filter on the top right corner. I didn't tell anyone, not right away. I went back into the bathroom, peeled off the veil, let the pins fall out of my hair one by one. Then I scrolled through Ava's videos again. Just to be sure I wasn't projecting, seeing shadows. But no, I screen recorded it. Zoomed, froze the moment. There he was. There they were. And then I noticed the details. The woman's shoes, pale pink block heels, the same ones my cousin Lana had worn to the rehearsal brunch. But it was Lana. The girl had thinner legs, lighter skin. And then it hit me. It was Ava. My sister. Her hair was up most of the day. That's why I hadn't recognized her immediately. But the way she tucked her hand under his elbow, that was Ava's move. She used to do that with every boyfriend she'd ever had, even in high school. The woman kissing my fiancé on Instagram Live was the person who filmed it. I didn't sleep that night. Just stared at the ceiling fan and listened to the way the house creaked. Every sound felt like a lie. I went to make tea around 4 a.m. and found Ava's purse on the kitchen island. She was still asleep in the guest room. I don't know what made me open it. But I did. Inside, lip gloss, ibuprofen, tissues, and an envelope with my name on it. Not in her handwriting. In his. Damon's. It was sealed. I stared at it for a full minute before opening it, heart slamming against my ribs. Inside, a DNA test slip, one of those mail-order ones, 23andMe style. And the results. My eyes scanned the paper, and then I sat down so hard my hip cracked against the chair edge. Probability of full sibling match, 0%. It was Ava's sample, and mine. I blinked, read it again. No full sibling match. No half-sibling match. The test said we weren't related. I thought I was going to throw up. I reread it 4 more times, my mouth dry. This couldn't be right, we were sisters. She was born 18 months before me, we shared bunk beds, swapped clothes, broke the same arm on the same playground bar. And now what? A test was saying we were strangers. I checked the sample barcodes. Both had our names handwritten and initialed by Damon. I knew his handwriting like scripture. There was a post-it inside too. In Ava's handwriting. It read, "Thought you should know before the wedding. A." No explanation, no emotion, just a nuclear bomb in a white envelope. I sat there in the kitchen, the sun barely starting to rise, and stared at the envelope like it might change. But it didn't. It just sat there, heavy as betrayal. Then I heard the creak of the hallway floor. Ave. She stepped into the kitchen, rubbing her eyes, her silk robe hanging open at the collar. "Hey," she said casually, like she hadn't just burned my entire life to ash. "You're up early." I didn't speak. Just held up the envelope. Her face changed. Not guilt. Not fear. Something stranger. Something that looked like relief. "Guess you saw it, huh?" she said softly. And then she smiled. Ava's smile wasn't warm, it wasn't apologetic. It was knowing. Like I'd finally caught up to a story she'd been living in long before I was ever cast. She stepped into the kitchen barefoot, eyes flicking to the envelope in my hand. I didn't want you to find out like this, she said, but maybe it's better. Clean break. Clean break, my voice cracked. You kissed Damon, you mailed me my own DNA test. What the hell is this, Ava? She tilted her head. Don't act like I ambushed you. You felt it too, the weird distance, the not same memories. No, I said flatly. I've felt gaslit, for years, by you, and now I find out we're not even related, because you sent a test to my fiancé. He offered, she said. The kitchen went still. My skin turned cold. What? She walked to the fridge, pulled out oat milk like we were discussing morning errands. He offered to help me do it, said it was better if you didn't know until it was real, until it was provable. I stared at her. So you were talking, behind my back, before this. Her silence said enough. I felt the world lurch beneath me. Ava leaned against the counter, sipping from a glass like this wasn't a funeral for my life. He said you wouldn't believe it if it came from me. He said you'd just call me jealous, that you always do. And you believed him, my voice rose. He listens to me, Jules, she said, and that's when the smile came back, this time softer, twisted. He sees things in me that no one ever has. I let out a breath that felt like a scream held too long. He's not your boyfriend, I whispered. He's mine. Ava set her glass down with a gentle clink, not for much longer. I locked myself in the guest bathroom. Not for safety. Just so I could scream into a towel without alerting the neighbors. I paced, I sobbed, I dry heaved. And then I remembered the screen recording. Still on my phone, still there, proof that I hadn't imagined it. I opened Instagram and went to Ava's page. Gone. The live was gone. Deleted sometime in the last hour. But my screen recording still played. I tapped into the clip, zoomed again on their bodies behind the cracked door. It was blurry, yes. But now I noticed something else. The bracelet on Ava's wrist. A tiny gold charm, an infinity symbol wrapped around a small opal stone. The same one Damon gave me 6 months ago on our anniversary. Only I had asked for it in silver. He said they didn't make it in gold. I packed my bag in 15 minutes flat. Ava tried to stop me, called my name from the hallway, knocked once, then again louder. Don't be dramatic, Jules. We can talk about this. I slammed the front door so hard I heard something fall off the shelf inside. I didn't look back. I booked an Uber straight to Damon's condo. He was still in bed when I arrived, shirtless, hair wild. Hey, what's wrong? I threw the envelope at him. It hit the bed, bounced. He froze. I saw the video, I snapped. I saw you kiss her. His face twisted. What are you talking about? Don't lie to me. It was on her Instagram live. You thought I wouldn't see it. You deleted it too late. He started shaking his head, eyes darting. No, I didn't kiss anyone, Jules, I swear. Save it, I spat. I know about the DNA test. I know you mailed it. I saw the results. He blinked. You opened it. I laughed. That's what you're worried about, that I opened it. He stared at me like I'd cracked open a truth he wasn't ready to face. And then he said the line that made my blood go still. She told me to do it. I frowned. Ava. He shook his head slowly. No, the psychic. It would have been funny if it hadn't sounded so serious. She said there was someone in your life who wasn't what she claimed, that your mirror soul was being blocked. That blood would tell. I blinked. You did a DNA test because a psychic told you to. She was right, was she? I stumbled back like he'd slapped me. She's my sister. He stared at me. No, Jules, she's not. Silence bloomed between us. He sat down on the bed like all the wind had gone out of him. I wasn't going to say anything, not until after the wedding, but Ava, she said she always knew, that she had dreams even as a kid, and after the test came back. He didn't finish. He didn't have to. The look on his face said it all. He believed her. Not me. Not our history. Her. Her dreams, her claims, her kiss. He looked up at me then, his voice barely a whisper. She thinks we're twin flames. My vision tunneled. And you? I asked. His answer came like a knife. I think she's right. The room felt wrong, tilted, too bright. He thinks she's right. He thinks my sister, no, the woman I thought was my sister, is his twin flame. My heart was thudding too loud to hear myself think. You're leaving me, I said, flat, numb. Damon didn't answer. Just dropped his gaze to his lap like a kid caught stealing, only worse, because he didn't look ashamed. He looked relieved. I never meant to hurt you, he said. That sentence, that tired script. I stepped back toward the door. No, you just meant to lie, and cheat, and emotionally defraud your fiancé based on a dream. He stood suddenly. It wasn't just a dream, it's been happening for years. What has? He hesitated, then, she always knew things you never told her, about us, our fights, our sex life. I froze. What do you mean she knew? He blinked, suddenly aware he'd said too much. I never told her, he muttered. I thought you might have. I cut him off. No, I didn't. Damon took a breath. Then maybe it's real. The connection, the blood test just confirmed it. You two aren't related, Jules. That's not a fluke. Maybe you were drawn to each other because of proximity, not fate. That word, fate. I wanted to scream. Instead, I turned and walked out. He didn't follow. Of course he didn't. Twin flames don't chase the fire they already burned down. I went to my mother. I didn't even call. Just showed up with the envelope still in my hand and the video queued up on my phone. She listened. She watched. She didn't say a word until I reached the part about the DNA. And even then, she just sat down on the couch like her bones couldn't hold her up anymore. I knew this day might come, she whispered. My throat closed. What? I always wondered. You and Ava, you were so different. She was born breech. I had to get a transfusion after her birth. There was confusion in the records, but no one ever confirmed anything. We just went on. Wait, I said, stepping closer. Are you saying Ava isn't your daughter? She looked up at me, and I'll never forget the look in her eyes. One of you is. The floor dropped out from under me. What do you mean? She covered her mouth. Her hands were shaking. Your father had an affair during his residency, with a nurse. I confronted him and we separated for a few months. I was already pregnant when we got back together, or I thought I was. I took him back because I thought it would fix us. I didn't want to know who was whose. And you never tested us. She shook her head. We were happy, you were both healthy. What difference would it make? I stared at her like I'd never seen her before. But now it makes a difference, doesn't it? I whispered. She said nothing. I left without hugging her. I didn't trust what her arms would mean anymore. That night, I opened my childhood memory box. Inside, school portraits, crumpled friendship bracelets, a cracked snow globe from a 7th grade trip. And buried under it, all a strip of photo booth pictures. Ava and me, age 11 and 12, pressed cheek to cheek, smiling like we owned the world. I stared at it for a long time. Then I did something I hadn't done in years. I opened Facebook and searched for Maya Benson. The nurse. The one my mom claimed had an affair with Dad. Her profile popped up, older now, but the smile was the same. She had 2 daughters. But only one looked familiar. My hands trembled as I clicked through the photos. Ave. Tagged at holidays. Smiling in family portraits. In one image, a toddler version of Ava sat on Maya's lap in a pink birthday dress. Caption, can't believe she's 3 already. The date. 1 month before Ava's official birth date. My breath caught in my chest. Ava's whole origin story, her due date, her hospital photo, her name, all lies. She wasn't just not my sister. She was someone else's daughter entirely. And my parents took her. Or kept her. Or swapped her. And now she was in love with my fiancé. And he believed they were soul bonded. And I was just debris. Collateral. Forgotten in a mess I didn't make. I couldn't sleep, couldn't cry. I just kept refreshing Ava's Instagram. She hadn't posted. But at 2, 17 a.m., she went live again. Just a black screen at first. Then the camera tilted, and I saw Damon. Shirtless. Lying in a bed I recognized instantly. My childhood bedroom. He turned to the camera, half laughing, then said softly, "Tell them, babe." Ava's voice came through, off-screen. "Tell them what?" "You know." Then she appeared. Her face glowing, her hair tousled. She leaned into Damon's side and said, "This was always the plan." I dropped my phone. I physically dropped it. It clattered to the hardwood, screen facing up, Ava's voice still echoing out from the speakers like some cursed lullaby. This was always the plan. I scrambled to pause the stream, my hands shaking so hard I hit the wrong button 3 times. By the time I got it to stop, I was drenched in sweat. Damon in my old room. Ava in his arms. Both of them grinning like they hadn't just detonated a nuke inside my identity. I curled into myself on the floor, like maybe if I made myself small enough, I could disappear before it got worse. Spoiler, it got worse. Because when I finally opened Instagram again, they had tagged me. Not just tagged me, mentioned me in the caption. At Ava Witching Hour. For all those asking, no, we're not sorry. Some love is cosmic, some is carnal. Ours is both. Sorry not sorry at Jules, Heartline. Twin flame union, truth will out. My face flushed so hot I thought I might pass out. I clicked on the comments. Y'all were hot AF. Wait, wasn't he her fiancé? Okay, but Loki, Ava and Damon make sense. Twin flame energy always exposes fake soulmates. I stopped reading. I couldn't breathe. And then I saw the DMs. My inbox was full of screenshots, sympathy, and something else. Confessions. From other women. Hi, I know this is weird, but I saw your story and I need to tell you, Damon messaged me on Bumble in April. I didn't realize he was engaged. Hey Jules, this might help or hurt, IDK. I met Damon in a yoga class last year. He said he was single. We hooked up twice. I swear I'm not trying to make things worse, but he had a second TikTok account. Look up at Mirrorverse guy. He was posting twin flame shit with someone who looks just like your sister. Like months ago. Each message was a knife. Each username felt like a ghost. I followed the trail. At Mirrorverse guy's TikTok was still public. It had 48K followers. Videos dating back 6 months. Most were vague new age posts about energy and healing and finding your soul's mirror. But buried in the middle was a short clip, 6 seconds long, of Ava twirling in a sundress at the exact same Ajay venue we'd rented. Caption, she always knew where I'd be. I sat frozen. The clip was posted 2 weeks before our engagement. I thought I was planning my future. They were already in it. I drove back to my mother's house at dawn. She opened the door in her robe, face pale like she hadn't slept either. I need answers, I said no hello. She nodded, stepped aside. I found Maya, I told her. I saw the birthday post. Ava was never born when you said she was. My mother sat at the table, her hands wringing each other into knots. She was left at the hospital, she said. No ID, no birth certificate, just a first name, Ava. That's not what the internet says, I snapped. Maya's post says Ava's hers. She looked up, tears in her eyes. Your father made it all disappear. That stopped me cold. What? He was obsessed, she said softly. He wanted a perfect family. When he found out Maya had a daughter, he said we should take her in, that no one would notice. My voice turned raw. That's not taking her in, that's kidnapping. No, she whispered. He paid Maya, she agreed, but then she changed her mind. She tried to get Ava back, he threatened her. I swayed, sat down hard in the chair across from her. So I was the real daughter, I said, voice hollow. Yes. And Ava was a purchased secret. Tears slid down her cheeks. I tried to stop him, but by then you two were inseparable. I couldn't bear to pull you apart. I looked at her, really looked, and felt something die between us. You didn't protect me, I said. She flinched. You protected him. I left with shaking hands and a plan. If they wanted cosmic retribution, I'd give it to them. I posted the full screen recording of the Instagram live. Caption: "This is what betrayal looks like. In my own dress, in my own house. Caught live by the woman I thought was my sister. At Damon, twin vibe your energy, off." It went viral in 5 hours. TikTok picked it up. By noon, someone had tracked down Damon's healing business, a shitty crypto-backed startup called TwinSync Energy, and posted screenshots of his price list for spiritual consultations and vibration audits. One woman said he charged her $299 to tell her she was blocking her heart chakra by watching rom-coms. It snowballed fast. By sunset, Damon's site was down. Ava's Instagram went private. But the story wasn't done. Because when I opened my mailbox the next day, there was a manila envelope with no return address. Inside, one photo. Black and white, dated 1994. A hospital room. My mother holding a newborn. Maya standing next to her, also holding a newborn. The caption on the back read, "Twins, 7:02 a.m. and 7:04 a.m." And scrawled beneath it in ink, "Only one came home." My vision blurred, the photo trembled in my hands. Twins. 2 women, 2 bobbies, 1 hospital room. My mother and Maya, side by side. One infant wrapped in a pink blanket, the other in white. No name tags, no hospital branding, just raw, analog proof. The caption was in someone else's handwriting, not my mom's, not Maya's, faint and shaky, old lady cursive. It looked witnessed. Only one came home. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't just betrayal. This wasn't just Ava seducing my fiancé or Damon falling for a twin flame TikTok scam. This was generational theft. Stolen blood, stolen names, stolen lives. And someone watching from the margins, had finally decided to drop the match. I called Maya. She answered on the 3rd ring, cautious, her voice older and more worn than I expected. "Jules," she asked, tentative. She already knew who I was. I hadn't said my name. "I got a photo," I said. "It was in my mailbox, 2 bobbies. It says you and my mom both gave birth." A long pause. "Then, you got it. You sent it." "No." Another pause. "But I hoped someone would." My heart banged against my ribs. "I don't understand," I whispered. "Was Ava your daughter?" She exhaled, slow and shaky. "Both of you were." Silence. Absolute, devouring silence. "I had twins," she said. "Unexpected. I didn't even know until the delivery. Your father was the attending physician. He pulled one of you aside before I could hold you, said there were complications. I didn't see you again." I felt like the air was being siphoned out of my lungs. "But my mom says she gave birth." "She didn't. He forged the documents. He told me one baby didn't make it. Then when I tried to get a death certificate, everything disappeared. He paid people off, threatened me. I was 22 and broke. What could I do?" I sat down on the floor. So I was the one who came home. And Ava was the one left behind. Raised in the house meant for me. Loved by a man who stole her from her mother. Taught to believe she was mine to boss around, to pity, to protect. We were never sisters. We were strangers holding hands in the dark, convinced the shape we formed was family. And now she was sleeping with the man I almost married. I barely remember getting in the car. I drove to Ava's apartment, waited outside in my car until the lights went out. Then I left the envelope on her doorstep with the photo and a note. Just one sentence. "You didn't destroy my life, you stole your own." The next day, she posted a story. Black screen, white text. "I don't owe anyone an origin story. Especially not the girl who inherited mine." I stared at it for a full 5 minutes. She wasn't denying it. She was claiming it. She was telling the world that I had lived her life. That her seduction, her sabotage, her twin flame fuckery wasn't betrayal. It was balance. The scales correcting. And Damon. He was her karmic reward. The last twist came 2 days later. It was a Thursday. I was at home, off social media, ignoring everything when a package arrived. No return address. Inside, a phone. Burner style, cheap and gray. And taped to the back, a note. Handwritten. Check voicemail, file 3. Day. My blood ran cold. I powered on the phone. Opened the voicemail folder. There were 5 recordings. I played the third. At first just static, muffled sounds, then Ava's voice. Just say it, Damon. No, it's this is insane. Say it. A beat. Then Damon's voice. Flat, hollow, terrified. Okay, I lied to her. I lied about everything. I knew they were sisters. I wanted Ava more, always did. Another beat. Then Ava's voice again, cold. You knew. Yes. You mailed the DNA test knowing. A long silence. I needed her to leave, he said, so you and I could finally be free. The audio clicked off. I stared at the screen. This wasn't some cosmic accident. This was a setup. He didn't discover their twin flame connection. He manufactured it. Used my DNA, used Ava's jealousy, used Maya's tragedy. He turned us into puzzle pieces just so he could choose the prettier one. And Ava let him. Because she believed wanting something hard enough made it hers. I made one final post. Some stories don't end with forgiveness. Some truths don't set you free. They burn. And they leave room for something new. She was never my sister. He was never my soulmate. This was her twin flame. It went viral again. But this time, no one laughed. Because this time, the whole world saw the same thing I did. A karmic loop so twisted, it wasn't fate. It was fraud. By the time the second round of virality hit, I was numb. I wasn't checking the comments anymore. I wasn't scrolling the reposts on TikTok where strangers speculated whether Damon was a narcissist or a cult leader or both. I wasn't even mad that Ava had blocked me. I just kept thinking about the voicemail. I knew they were sisters. I wanted Ava more. I needed her to leave. He wanted me gone. And she wanted to become me. But neither of them knew who I really was, who either of us were. Because here's the truth no one saw coming. We weren't sisters. We weren't even twins. The photo had been doctored. I wouldn't have noticed it if it weren't for a tiny blur at the bottom right corner, a warping of the tiled floor, the kind that happens when an image is cropped and relayered. So I did what any unhinged, betrayed former bride-to-be with access to the internet does. I reverse image searched it. The original photo was from an old hospital promotional pamphlet. Stock photo, 2 women holding newborns. The caption had been added later, by hand, but the picture. Not ours. Which meant someone wanted me to believe that Ava and I were twins, that one of us was stolen. That everything was fate. When it was really a script. I opened the burner phone again. Searched for hidden folders. There was a hidden album in the gallery, untitled, password protected. Took me 4 tries. The password was AVA2020. Inside, screenshots of texts, drafted scripts, a spreadsheet labeled ARC. The tab titles: Juliet Early Red Flags, Ava Target Warm-Up, Wedding Disruption Plan, Livestream Monetization. My blood ran cold. Each row was dated. Each line had notes: increased jealousy, good sign, stage DNA kit confusion, isolate Juliet from mother, possible hospital visit required. It wasn't just betrayal. It was orchestration. Every twist, every revelation, every breakdown. Designed. Controlled. By Damon. And Ava. She was complicit, or worse, just another pawn. I took the phone straight to the police. They were skeptical at first, until I showed them the spreadsheet and the burner's metadata. Turns out Damon had done this before. 3 years ago, in Austin. 2 sisters. 1 engagement. 1 breakdown that landed the older sister in psychiatric care. He'd changed names, moved cities, but the pattern. Identical. He wasn't looking for love. He was looking for replication. To run the same twisted story on loop, scripting women into parts they didn't know they were playing. Like we were the entertainment. And he was the writer, director, and star. They arrested him within a week. Fraud, identity theft, emotional abuse. Civil suits piled up once the TikToks went viral again. His twin flame brand was exposed as a pyramid scheme. His podcast disappeared. Even Ava went dark, offline, off-grid, gone. I wish I could say that made me feel better. But all it did was hollow me out. Because here's the thing. In the final draft of his spreadsheet, the one he never sent, never published, there was a line under final scene. It read, "She finds the envelope, she opens it live, she breaks. Not if. Not maybe. She breaks." And for a moment, I hated him not just for what he did, but for how well he understood me. Because I did break. But then I did something else. I broadcasted. I started a TikTok series called Unwritten Scripts. I shared every screenshot, every stage direction, every false synchronicity he designed to make Ava and me spiral into each other like opposing moons. And slowly, people started sharing their stories. The woman who found burner texts in her fiancé's meditation group chat. The girl whose boyfriend convinced her she was soul bonded to him through numerology he made up. The woman who married her twin flame, only to find out he'd married 6 other women under the same name. We weren't victims anymore. We were co-authors, burning the script and writing a new one. But one mystery still haunted me. If Damon planned the whole thing, who mailed the photo? Who wrote only one came home? A few weeks later, I got my answer. Another envelope. No return address. Inside, a single Polaroid. Of me. Age 6, standing in a playground, wearing a red sweater I didn't remember owning. On the back, a note. She wasn't your sister. But you were hers. M. No other clues. Just that. And maybe that was enough. Because it wasn't about who came home anymore. It was about what I'd do now that I was finally free to leave. I never imagined the word closure would come in the form of a blurry Polaroid and an initial. But there it was, M. Maya, maybe. Maybe not. Maybe it didn't matter anymore. Because by then, the story had already gone viral again, but this time not as gossip. As warning. The burner phone files hit national news after 3 more women came forward with similar experiences. Same phrases, same choreography, same patterns. They called it emotional trafficking. Using trust as currency, cultivating trauma bonds as leverage, branding intimacy like it was a tech startup. And Damon, he was branded something else now. Predator. Ava never resurfaced. No livestream, no post, no apology. But one day, months later, someone tagged me in a blurry cell phone video taken in Arizona. A woman with her face turned away, long dark hair. Same tattoo Ava had behind her left ear. She was in a crystal shop, alone, talking to the cashier about energy cleansing. Buying a box of sage and a deck of oracle cards. I didn't feel rage when I watched it. I felt something colder. Something quieter. Pity. Because she was still looking for magic in a pile of ash. Still hunting the twin flame fantasy that had burned us both alive. Me, I stopped hunting. I moved out of our shared apartment, changed cities, sold the wedding dress online to a girl in Colorado who wanted it for the drama. I told her, "You'll get it." And I meant it. I started freelancing, design work, short-form digital content. You'd be shocked how many women in the wellness space want revenge branding now. There's power in story. Especially the kind you take back. One night, almost a year later, I opened that voicemail again. The one where Damon admitted everything. I replayed it for the last time, not to cry, not to scream. Just to memorize the sound of his unraveling. And then I deleted it. Because he didn't get to live in my phone anymore. He didn't get to live anywhere near me. Here's the part I never told the internet. The dream. The one I had 2 nights before the wedding. In it, I was standing on a beach at dusk, holding a bouquet that kept turning into snakes. Ava was behind me, whispering into Damon's ear. He smiled. Then walked into the sea. And she followed. And I stood alone, barefoot in the sand, bouquet hissing in my arms, not knowing whether to chase them or let the tide take it all. I woke up gasping, told myself it was just nerves. But maybe some part of me knew. Maybe the body always knows when it's about to be sacrificed to the narrative. Final confession. There was a second DNA envelope. The company sent a duplicate weeks after the first. I never opened it. I burned it. Because that answer. That doesn't matter now. What matters is what I believe. And I believe I wasn't meant to be Ava's sister. Or Damon's partner. Or anyone's karmic mirror. I was meant to survive. To escape the loop. To become the fire that burns the script. And write my own ending. This one. Right here. Ever caught a cheater with their own tech? Sound off in the comments. Subscribe for more stories that burn the script.